What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I wanted to look at some YouTube drama. I thought this would be fun, but also kind of timely, or kind of like this is important. This is an important topic, I think, to discuss. A lot of people have done it, and YouTube actually, like more recently, issued a response on the entire thing. So there is some sort of conclusion to the story. However, I would argue it's not the greatest thing of all time. So this is that SSSniperWolf ordeal that's going on. I won't like run you through the entire lore of it. I'm sure you've probably seen other stuff. Basically, what it comes down to is her going to Jack's Film's house and, recording it, uploading it to Instagram, taking it down, and the whole drama that kind of ensued. And there's been a lot of calls to get her kicked off the platform. I think they honestly should stand. I think that she should probably get kicked off the platform. Was that ever going to happen? Probably not, right? We know YouTube, Twitch, all of these big kind of corporations, they love their top people, or they play favorites. And, there's of course like the idea of like a gender thing going on, where if it was reversed, you could maybe argue that. I would just argue more than anything and to keep it, kind of away from that. I feel like, and this is again something we've seen with Twitch and with YouTube, when YouTube in this case, right, for this situation, when they've obviously labeled her as a kind of priority, right? She's one of the top people. When she gets invited to VidCon or whatever these stupid things are called, and, they do like tweets about her and backing her and all that. Obviously, they're going to protect her more than an average individual. And that's why I think this is important. Maybe it won't ever affect me in my own personal life or YouTube career, but I think this is important that people talk about it and that the right kind of conclusion happens. And in my opinion, mostly the right conclusion has happened, but again, the end of the story is not perfect. So we had that whole thing, right? Everybody made a very big deal about it, as they should. And then YouTube responded. They finally responded like almost a week or so later, right? And the ending of this story is they issued a statement on Twitter talking about that she's, for right now, for the moment, she's demonetized. So she won't be making money off of her videos, but it's not a permanent thing. So you know that eventually it's going to be lifted, which these kind of situations, when we see these things happen, they only happen to the biggest people, right? We've actually seen situations where if number one, if a smaller channel gets demonetized or gets kicked off the platform, chances are you might never hear from them again because there's no way of kind of reversing it. You only see the big examples, right? Or you only see small channels that get decisions reversed because they have help from a bigger channel. It's not a good system, and it's something that I don't necessarily worry about day to day, but it totally could impact a channel the size of mine, and mine would probably be an example of I have no big YouTube friends to kind of pull me out of it as other people do. So again, the moral of the story is they pick their favorites, and some things apply to them that don't apply to us, right? So for this SSSniperWolf situation, she gets demonetized for the current time. That's going to get reversed eventually. But their statement is the thing that is scary, that I think originally people that only read like the first sentence of it, they kind of backed it, said, oh, YouTube, you're doing your job. The rest of it is kind of scary. And what was the rest of it? Well, it was basically condoning both of their behaviors, talking about SSSniperWolf and Jack's Films, that, we don't really want any of this. And although this happened off platform, like hopefully we can kind of move on to a more productive place, but we don't really support either of your kind of decision making. And it's like, all right, so wait a second. Number one, the issues with SSSniperWolf go before the doxing thing, okay? It goes to the whole re-uploading content, and we've actually talked about that reaction content with like XQC. I think a lot of that stuff, in fact, that specific stuff, I think is complete garbage, and I think those people don't have talent. I think that they ruin the platform. I think that they are just asking for like a legal case against them in court, and they're going to ruin it for everybody else, as we've talked about in the past. Only takes one stupid person to do one stupid thing, as we've seen with like the Logan Paul thing, and you literally ruin the livelihoods of hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of other people. It's why I have no respect for people like the Logan Paul. You don't get to like walk that back, right? That doesn't just come back. Oh, I'm sorry, or I'll never do it again. No, your actions impacted everybody. And so, technically these actions haven't impacted anybody yet, but the idea of what SSSniperWolf does and what XQC and all these people, that one day could come back to bite tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people. And they should probably feel like a pit in their stomach for that. So that was already, that was before. And it's important to bring that up because of the ending of YouTube's statement where, this Jax Films, like, yes, he makes fun of her a lot. That's like his primary thing. But, well, is it his primary thing? Because what he kind of does in general is he credits people that she doesn't. I would say he kind of broadcasts the issues with her and her content to everybody. Now, yes, maybe you're taking a slightly, not evil, but you're taking a more poking kind of angle to it, which maybe that's what YouTube doesn't like. And I guess that's fine, right? Maybe YouTube's saying, hey, we want everybody to be totally 100% respectful to each other, which is admirable, I guess, but at the same time, you have to be able to call these things out. And and that's what he does. And that's what scares me about this situation is they finally bent their knee to the people, but they didn't do it all the way. And instead of just throwing her under the bus as you should, instead they said, well, both of you, we're not really pleased with how either of you have handled this. And it's well, wait a second. Number one, she's asking for some sort of lawsuit, and maybe that comes back to bite YouTube, so I don't even know why you'd be defending her. She's been doing that for years. XQC, Hassan, all these people, they've been doing this forever. That's bad. You shouldn't support that in the first place. Then she doxed a guy. All the guy does is talk about the mistakes that she makes. Those are equal, and that's the biggest thing. You could maybe argue that, he's not in the greatest spot either, whatever. I wouldn't actually agree with that, but instead, YouTube's basically saying, well, we'll demonetize her, but then beyond that, you're both kind of equally to blame. What? What are you talking about? So that is what really scares me, I guess, about the end of this situation is, are they doing what they kind of have to do? Probably. And do they actually fully mean this stuff? Probably not, right? They're kind of just doing what they have to do in the moment. But I hope behind the scenes they really do have their priorities straight because, yes, I'm sure she makes them a ton of money and she's one of the biggest creators on the platform. But you have to be equal in these decision-making things, and you can't let one and which is, you can say that, and of course it sounds good to say that. It sounds morally correct to say, and I think everybody should be held to the exact same standard across YouTube. The issue is that's absolutely not how it is, and I want it to change, and I wish it would change. I think one day it possibly could, but in the present time, you can say it and all that stuff, and it sounds good, but ultimately, you kind of just have to sit back and almost take it, right? Because these things do happen all the time, and, it's not actually, none of this is shocking whatsoever, because, as I keep saying, we know they play favorites. We know 1,000% that if it was somebody else, right, somebody that's not on their top 10, they love list, that they would be kicked. And that's the disgusting, kind of icky thing about it. That. If it was somebody outside of their preferred list, they'd be gone in a second, right? The Act Man was making a joke on Twitter. It wasn't the greatest joke. I actually did think he possibly could be hit for, what he did, and he was. But that was a very clear joke, obvious joke. And so that should show you right there. See, if she made that, or XQC or somebody, made that, their respective overlords, Twitch, YouTube, whatever it may be, right? They're going to protect them. Whereas if you're not on that list, say the Act Man or whatever, in that case, that actually happened. In this, as I said, literally, it could just be anybody. Even if the roles were reversed and Jax Films went to SSSniperWolf's house, right? He'd be gone. And there'd be absolutely no reversing that. It would be set in stone. And that's, again, you can keep saying it. You can keep wishing it gets better. I guess these things, again, there are some positives that come out of it. She's demonetized for the moment. But the sad thing is they still have favorites. They're still going to protect her to an extent. They're still saying that both of them are in the wrong for some stupid reason. And in the large scheme of things, it's not going to change all that much, right? It kind of needs to be this situation multiple times with the same person, but also all these different people to kind of get them all at the same time. You'd have to go through quite a bit to eliminate this behavior, in general. So it's a little depressing kind of ending of the story, but I thought it would be a fun topic to kind of bring up. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.